Hello and welcome again to the AFA Academy Talks. And hard to believe this is already our concluding episode where we sum up everything we discussed in the past about the AFA principles, the guiding principles of this company. So for the last time, warm welcome to Ariel and Nir.
Thank you for a great job.
Thanks,
really.
Thomas.
Thanks.
Well, we discussed that those principles are part of our culture, our DNA, and looking at them again, I think we all now better understand why this is such a fundamental element of our company. I mean, I still remember when we discussed the first principle, which said, say what you do what you say. And remember, you called out this being one of the most important ones, Ariel.
Yes, I did. And now you can see why. We are in the floor of the development, research, innovation, development of our company. And you know already we love integration. So we created an office space that integrates into it not only a development, but also production, because everything they develop must be brought into mass production. We don't just throw an invention over the wall and say to the producer, produce it. We actually do all the production pilot, make sure that it's perfect, and then people can produce it. So this is what we say, and this is what we do, and we do what we say, and this is the main reason why we are able to innovate, develop, and then if the consumer likes it, also be successful with it.
Yeah, so in other words, we're at the heart of the company, heart of the strategy, walking the talk of developing. Nir, another principle we discussed was having courage, the courage to say no and not hesitating to say yes. When you recap, what is most important about that principle for you?
This is about staying true to our strategy. It means we know our principles and we stand by our principles, and that gives us the courage to say no, even though we're saying that we strive to say yes, because this is how we're built.
Yeah, so really,
if you recall the principle about not participating in auctions, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually a continuation of the idea that you should do what you know how to do and do it with people who want you to do what you do and not something else. Don't try to be everything for everybody. Stay truthful to yourself. Make sure that everybody understands who you are. And then, business will come. Maybe not big business, maybe not from everybody, but what business that you'll have will be what you want to have.
Yeah, I see and agree. And this brings us already to the next principle, which says that our capital yields best when we invest into ourselves, like what we see behind us, the core of the company, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do you say? The proof is in the pudding. What you see around you is people and very little machinery. For the size of AFA sales, the volume of its products, you would have expected to see a huge production site. What you see is a pilot production site, which means you only experiment here, and you're not producing mass production here.
So it feels like we're in the top secret area, because this is where it happens. This is where all the invention is done. Yeah.
Our guys here should all have signed an NDA. We don't allow people in here.
Yeah. Which brings us to, talking about invention, the principle of we are not inventors for hire. Remind me, Nir, what does that mean?
We pave the way to the future without technologies. In other words, we live by the principles of our innovation, things that we talked about, like taking air out of the equation so that we can control and master the way that the liquid is being dispensed, talking about moving from single-use products into durable systems, devices in the future so that we can reduce the amount of plastic waste. So all of this requires investments of our time and our resources and our knowledge in our own technologies.
I see.
Let me add something. Yeah. I mean, this camera that we have couldn't capture the entire office, productions, R&D, and everything else. We are occupying here how many square meters or foot, Nir? I don't remember. All I can tell you is that we invested in this space in the midst of the corona, where everybody was running away from offices. We invested millions of dollars here. If we would have gone to one of our customers and say, would you like to invest a few $1 million into an office, headquarters, R&D, and whatever you of AFA, it's not even a starter. Only entrepreneurs, only my private money could have done that, take this risk. And that's the meaning of AFA. We are taking risk, we're investing in ourselves, and the returns, we can wait another year or 2 or 5, even if it's the corona.
I see. Well, now we're moving on to my favorite one. It's where Silicon Valley, Apple meets AFA, dispensing technologies. Because that principle said, if you want to be a great software company, you must be a great hardware company. And we see lots of hardware engineering right behind us, right?
Yeah, you can look around. We are the high tech in what is considered the low tech industry. And we know that our successful innovation is only when there is a perfect marriage between the software and the hardware. In other words, the liquid, the formulations that are being dispensed interact in a perfect way with a dispensing system.
Yeah, what the consumers would describe as a seamless experience, as also in IT, they call it. Then we discussed another principle that sounded a bit odd at the beginning. Reasons why we do not participate in auctions, despite the fact that auctions are name of the game in the industry. Ariel, how come?
Well, I think we explained it before and we just touched upon it. We do things differently and we do different things. I think that sums it up. And we cannot be put into a group of companies as respectable as they might be, as good and fantastic products as they produce, because that's not who we are. And we will do business with people who want us because we are different. And not because people who ask us, why can't you do what your competitors do? I think that sums it up.
Yeah. And you just a few moments ago said how much money we spent on these facilities, on this heart of the company.
Right.
Nevertheless, another principle that we discussed is that the growth the company experiences is growth without debt, and that this is a life insurance, Nir.
Yes, this enables us to direct our destiny. We have our own means, which means that we can take those resources, these funds, and invest them in what we believe is going to be the future and is going to be the business for AFA. And it's not necessarily listening to the short-term sight and short-term, I would say, I'm looking for the right word. Expectations or the interest, short-term interest is the right word I was looking for, of potential partners. So we pave the way. We come up with things that are disruptive, that are out of the box, that are coming from left field. And for that, we need to have our own resources and be financially and also from mindset point of view, independent.
So staying true to our strategy and talking about who we are, we also discussed the principle of saying we are not B2B, we are B2B2C, and in there, we are the C. So Ariel, that consumer focus, we really live it.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. So we explained it. We showed a couple of products that we are putting ourselves in the consumer's shoes, right? And Nir, in one of the segments, said that the negotiation style of AFA is to put us in the shoes of our customers first. It's sort of like saying, judge yourself before you judge others. And you cannot judge yourself without understanding what people think about you. And this entire philosophy is what brings you to the idea that you have to think like a consumer in order to innovate. You cannot innovate in a vacuum. You cannot come up with something that you think is good and you have no indication or you go against the grain. And that's what we do here.
Yeah, so the consumer is the boss also here at AFA.
Oh, well, I think the consumer...
Says the owner.
The consumer has a lot of bosses.
And the last of the principles we discussed was design sells. And we discussed that design is so much more than just aesthetics, right?
Right.
Yes. Yeah. It starts from within when you talk about the performance, and then it goes outside. So we start with very sophisticated designs of a technology or a product that is based on a technology. And then you have to consider the way it looks so that it is, at the end of the day, appealing to the consumer, because that's what the first thing that attracts consumer to a product. So it must be a perfect combination, again, of looks, performance, ergonomics, everything speaks in the same language. And it goes beyond the product, also the environment, the places where we work, our offices, the way that we interact in the company, the rest of the principles, it's also part of the design, isn't it?
Absolutely. So that means design is so much more than we think at in first place.
We spoke about the supermarket shelves
Yeah.
and the way they look. No wonder that nobody keeps a spray bottle on his counter.
Yeah.
It's hidden under the counter, right? It looks terrible. Our products look great. And people would love to put our products, and we have already a couple of examples right on the top of the counter. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It looks good, it functions well, and it really creates fun. People like to spray with our sprayers. Look at the reviews on Amazon.
Yeah, I agree. And building on that, Ariel, I think what you just said is true for everything we do because it creates value. Ultimately, we create value for the consumer in the center. And by that, I think the proposition we have as a company of creating value, not being cost, not being packaging, but being part of an equation that creates superior value. This is what AFA is about. And I'm sure that the discussion of those principles we did in the last episodes made it transparent not only to the people within AFA, but also to our partners, that we are the partner of choice when it comes to value creation, thinking beyond cost, daring to break the paradigm. So thank you so much to both of you for sharing those insights, for sharing those principles. And I would like to ask everybody, internally and externally, to think about what those principles mean in our daily interaction, our daily work, outside the company as a partner or within as an employee. Thank you so much. And with that, we close this part of the AFA Academy talks on the AFA Principles. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.